Do your knees or hips ache more than they used to? What if I told you that some vegetables, yes, vegetables, could be making your joint pain worse? It sounds counterintuitive, right? We're always told to eat more veggies. But stick with me. Today, I want to share some important insights about senior health, wellness, and nutrition. At the end of this video, I'll share some effective tips to improve your senior health. Let me tell you about Robert. Robert is 70 years old, a retired school teacher who loves his morning walks and tending to his garden. He's always been the picture of senior health, staying active and making sure his diet was packed with fresh vegetables straight from his own backyard. But over the last few years, his arthritis, especially in his knees joint pain, became unbearable. Some mornings, the stiffness was so bad he could barely get out of bed for his joint pain. He tried everything: creams, braces, exercises, but the pain just kept getting worse. He was frustrated and started to believe that this was just his new reality. He thought, well, I guess this is just what it means to be 70. During a routine checkup, his doctor, seeing his frustration, asked him a simple yet profound question. Robert, tell me, what kind of vegetables do you eat most often? Robert proudly listed them off: juicy red tomatoes from his garden, fresh bell peppers in his salads, grilled eggplant on the weekends, and of course, potatoes with many of his meals. He was expecting praise from his doctor. Instead, the doctor paused, looked at him thoughtfully, and said something that completely shocked Robert. He explained that all those vegetables Robert was so proud of belonged to a group that, for some people, could actually be contributing to his chronic inflammation and joint pain. Robert was floored. Vegetables causing his joint pain? It didn't make any sense, but he was desperate, so he decided to listen. This is a real story that plays out in doctors' offices more often than you might think about senior health. And it all comes down to a specific category of plants known as nightshades, along with a few other common culprits that can trigger inflammation in sensitive individuals. Let's break down exactly which vegetables we're talking about, why they can be problematic for senior health, and what you can do about it for senior wellness and nutrition. First on our list, and perhaps the most surprising for many, are tomatoes. We love them in sauces, salads, and sandwiches. They're packed with vitamins and lycopene, which is a powerful antioxidant. So, what's the problem? Tomatoes are part of the nightshade family. Nightshades contain chemical compounds called alkaloids, including one named solanine. For the majority of senior, these compounds are harmless for their health. However, in a subset of the population, particularly those who are already prone to inflammation or have conditions like arthritis, these alkaloids can act as a trigger. Think of it like a switch. For most, the switch is off. But for some seniors, eating tomatoes can flip that switch on, leading to increased inflammation, stiffness, and pain in the joints. If you find yourself feeling particularly achy after a big pasta dinner with marinara sauce, this might be a connection worth exploring. Next up is another popular nightshade: eggplant. Whether it's in a classic eggplant parmesan or a delicious baba ganoush, eggplant is a staple in many healthy diets. It's low in calories and high in fiber. But just like tomatoes, it contains those pesky alkaloids. For individuals sensitive to nightshades, consuming eggplant can lead to a noticeable increase in joint stiffness and pain. It's that same inflammatory response we talked about. Your body's immune system can mistakenly react to these compounds as a threat, launching an inflammatory attack that unfortunately settles in your vulnerable joints. It's a subtle process, one you might not connect to your food right away, but it can create a cycle of chronic, low-grade inflammation that makes managing conditions like osteoarthritis or rheumatoid arthritis much more difficult. It's not that eggplant is bad for senior health, but for you, It might be a food that isn't doing your joints any favors. Let's move on to peppers. I'm talking about all kinds of bell peppers, red, green, yellow, as well as hot peppers like chili and cayenne. They add color, crunch, and flavor to our meals and are loaded with vitamin C. But you guessed it, they are also members of the nightshade family. The active compound in hot peppers, capsaicin, is interesting. Topically, in creams, it can actually help relieve pain by depleting nerve cells of a chemical that sends pain signals. But when ingested by someone with a sensitivity, peppers can have the opposite effect internally. They can contribute to the overall inflammatory load in the body. For seniors already dealing with the chronic inflammation of arthritis, adding more inflammatory triggers from their diet can be like pouring gasoline on a fire. The result? More joint pain, more swelling, and less mobility. You might be eating a healthy stir-fry full of colorful peppers, thinking you're doing your body good, while unknowingly aggravating the very condition you're trying to soothe. Now, let's step away from the nightshades for a moment and talk about another common vegetable: potatoes. Specifically, white potatoes. French fries, mashed potatoes, baked potatoes. They're a comfort food for a reason. The issue with white potatoes isn't about alkaloids, it's about their high starch content and high glycemic index. When you eat them, your body quickly converts that starch into sugar, causing a rapid spike in your blood sugar levels. This sharp increase in blood sugar can trigger an inflammatory response throughout your body. Your system releases inflammatory messengers called cytokines, and this inflammation isn't picky about where it goes. It can travel to your joints, making the existing inflammation from arthritis even worse. Think of it as a sugar rush that fuels the fire in your aching knees or hips. This is why managing blood sugar is so crucial for seniors, not just for preventing diabetes, but for managing chronic pain as well. Finally, let's talk about corn. Sweet, delicious, and found in everything from summer barbecues to cornbread. Corn is technically a grain, but we eat it like a vegetable. The primary concern with corn when it comes to joint pain is its fatty acid profile. Corn is loaded with omega-6 fatty acids. Now, omega-6 isn't inherently bad. Our bodies need it. The problem is the ratio. The ideal healthy diet has a balanced ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids, ideally somewhere around 4:1 or even lower. Omega-3s are anti-inflammatory. However, the modern diet is often overwhelmingly high in omega-6s, found in corn, soybean oil, and many processed foods, and very low in omega-3s, found in things like fatty fish and flax seeds. This imbalance, sometimes as high as 20:1, creates a pro-inflammatory state in the body. So, when you consume a lot of corn or corn-based products, you could be tilting your internal scales towards more inflammation, which can directly translate to more joint pain. So, what happened to Robert? Following his doctor's advice, he decided to run an experiment. He didn't eliminate these vegetables cold turkey, but he significantly reduced them. He started swapping them out for other, less inflammatory options. Instead of white potatoes, he began eating more sweet potatoes, which are lower on the glycemic index and packed with anti-inflammatory beta-carotene. Instead of tomatoes and peppers in his salads, he loaded up on dark, leafy greens like kale and spinach, and added colorful carrots and beets. He discovered the joys of roasted broccoli and cauliflower. The change wasn't immediate. His pain didn't vanish overnight. But within a few weeks, he started to notice a real difference. The morning stiffness wasn't as severe. He could get through his morning walks with less of a limp. He felt a bit more flexible, a bit more mobile. The constant, nagging ache had subsided to a more manageable level. For Robert, understanding that certain healthy foods were his personal pain triggers was a complete game changer. It gave him a sense of control over his condition that he thought he had lost forever. He learned that managing his arthritis and joint pain wasn't just about what he should eat, but also about what he might need to avoid. Maintaining good senior health is essential for longevity. This journey is incredibly personal. What triggers inflammation in one person might be perfectly fine for another. The key is to become a detective for your own body. If joint pain is a constant battle that's slowing you down and keeping you from the activities you love, I encourage you to take a closer look at what's on your plate. Try an elimination diet for a few weeks. Remove these potential culprits: tomatoes, eggplant, peppers, potatoes, and corn, and see how you feel. Then, reintroduce them one by one, and pay close attention to your body's response. You might be surprised by what you discover. Remember, small swaps can lead to a big difference in your quality of life. You don't have to accept chronic pain as an inevitable part of aging. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope this information empowers you to take control of your joint health. If you found this video helpful and want to get more tips and advice on senior health, senior wellness, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications.